Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my podcast, Creative CEO. My name's Georgie Turner. I'm an artist, I'm a businesswoman, I'm also a mother, and this is the podcast for anyone who is in this similar boat to me, who is running a creative business alongside some other big dependency in your life. That could be being a mother, that could be having a full-time job, that could just be having a very, very needy dog in your life. Whatever your circumstances, I am here for you. This podcast is about creating a space for people like me, sharing my advice on how I grew my business to the point that it's at now, and also sharing how I juggle being a businesswoman alongside being a mother. I'm actually changing the way that I record these podcasts. So I realized that the limitations of me recording my podcast weekly is because I was trying to film it for YouTube, and because of the way, like how crazy and hectic my life is sometimes, I found that trying to film it meant I was trying to do it in the days where my daughter was at nursery so I could film it in the daylight. I didn't need to, but I wanted to look nice. So having to like do my hair, put makeup on, tidy the studio, set the camera up. And I thought, actually, I don't need to film it for YouTube. And I know that there are people that watch it on YouTube. So it will still be on YouTube, but there won't be a video because, I put my daughter to bed 15 minutes ago. I jumped in the shower. I've got my PJs on. I've got a nice fluffy dressing gown on, no makeup, and I actually feel a lot more relaxed. So I think this might be the way to go for me to actually do more regular podcasts. And I just feel a bit more comfortable doing this right now. Hopefully this means that I will do more regular podcasts if I'm not trying to stress about doing it in the daytime, and I can do it, in the evening when my daughter is asleep. So today's episode is going to be around social media. Now, I am going to do probably another social media podcast in a couple of months because so much changes with social media constantly. It definitely, goes in peaks and troughs, and you just have to accept that with social media. As long as you're being consistent around how much you post about the people that you're targeting, accept that there are going to be changes that go on, and as long as you're being consistent in some areas, then I would just keep going with it. I've grown my following on Instagram to 17k. It has actually been a lot more than that, but I tend to do a bit of a cull of my Instagram followers. So I recently did a bit of a cull, and I think I got rid of about 400 people. And I'm like, you shouldn't be afraid of doing that because it's better to have engaged real people that are following you than just these sort of accounts where no one actually, you don't want, it might not necessarily be a bot account, but somebody that creates an account and they don't have any posts on their page and they just follow people for, I don't even know what the point of doing it is, but they're just accounts that I just don't need following me. I'd much rather people who are actually going to comment or share or save or just enjoy my content rather than these like weird spammy accounts. So never be afraid of like cutting people, like taking people off your follow list, but just don't do it all in one go. But also it's really hard doing it in one go because you have to, like, if you wanted to really check people out, you need to go onto their individual profile, and it just takes a long time. So I've often just cut people if they haven't got a profile picture. I've gone, right, I'm just going to cut anyone without a profile picture on, because even though if they might be a real person, then I don't know why they don't just put a profile picture on. So I've grown my Instagram following to 17k so far. That's nowhere near where my goal is, but it's definitely good for now. And my goal, like, I would love to get to 50k. My goal for next year, this is a big statement putting it out on a podcast, but I would love to be at 100k, and that is a long way for me to go in a year. It might take me 2 years, but I just have a feeling that's round the corner. I'm going to get some like viral reels because I've had it before. I can have it again. I remember once I posted a reel back in 2022, and it was the grey nosy pony drawing that I did. And I can't remember, I think I gained 7,000 followers from that one reel. So I do know it's possible. And I've had like plenty of reels go quote unquote viral. I mean, like viral for me. And sometimes those reels, like they go viral weeks and weeks afterwards. So I do know that I can do it, but at the moment it's not happening. But I'm just accepting it and just continuing to be consistent. And it's going to happen for me. I know that I'm going to get to more followers. However, just on that point though, there's no point in having all these Instagram followers if they're not actually engaged. So don't ever buy followers, because your follower count does not equate to how much money you're going to make through your business, through social media. You've got to have followers that are actually, people like I said before. That's why I sometimes do a bit of a cull of people that I know are just like, well, why are you following me? You've got no interest in horses. You've got no interest in wildlife or art. You haven't even got a profile picture. So I just get rid of them. So yeah, even though numbers are good and it does help you like reach more people, you've got to make sure that your actual followers are, they're real. They're proper people that are going to engage with you. So my Pinterest at the moment is at around 2K, as is my TikTok. I am not very good on Pinterest or TikTok yet, so I've got to those numbers without trying too hard, which is good. I do know that Pinterest is more of a long game, and I'm not going to talk about Pinterest today much at all, because I still haven't figured it out for myself. And the same with TikTok. I'm still very new and learning with TikTok. Although I have learnt recently that TikTok could potentially be more about quantity over quality, whereas I think with Instagram, quality is very important. So I'm going to try out posting on TikTok every day, regardless of whether the actual video is what I would deem like Instagram worthy quality. So Pinterest and TikTok, I'm not really going to cover because I haven't quite figured it out for myself yet, but I am learning as I go along. Facebook is a funny one. I'm only at 700 followers on Facebook. I have learned that, posting in Facebook groups can sometimes work and sometimes not. I posted a photo of my drawing of my Fairfax and Favour boots into the Fairfax and Favour Club Facebook page, and I mean it gained me like 200 followers. So sometimes it definitely works, but I'm yet to kind of figure out how to grow my Facebook. So today's podcast is definitely focused on Instagram, because that's the one that I've focused on in the beginning, and it's the one that I'm always go to first. Now, I opened my first Instagram account when I was at uni. I think I was in like my second year of uni, so that was 2013, so 10 years ago. And it is such a different platform to what it was when you first started. So when I actually made an art account, which was about 4 years ago, it was almost like just a portfolio of your work. Like the front, your profile page was supposed to just look really pretty and, be a real like portfolio of your work. But it's now very much, you need to think of your Instagram account as a marketing tool, and it should be run with a strategy, just like your business is run. So it's not all about having a really pretty profile page, but it's more about having quality content that really gets people engaged with your work. And I would put on all of your reels, I often go back and do my reel covers at a later date, but if you've put a piece of content out, you can add an actual still image as your reel cover. And I would have text on that now, because even though the text might not look quite as pretty on your profile page like it used to be, if somebody finds your account, they might instantly scroll through your page and want to see something. And if you've got text over the top of your reel, which basically tells the person what that reel is about, or it's a hook that entices them into watching it, you're more likely to get people to follow you, follow you or like engage with sort of your older reels, because they can see exactly what they're about to click on. You need to almost make it as easy as possible for people to navigate your Instagram page. That's what I found. So the intention of Instagram as a company is to just keep people on the app. So at the moment, they are really pushing shares. So if your reel gets a lot of shares, then it's going to be pushed out to more people, because if like I do it all the time to like my mum friends, I'll find a funny reel and I'll share it to the WhatsApp group. Now in that WhatsApp group there's 8 of us, so I've already seen it. So if all 7 of those people click onto that reel, that's 7 more people on Instagram. Instagram are really pushing shares because they want people to be sharing content out, which then brings like more people onto the app. When you're creating your content, think about whether it will be shared, because that's what Instagram are really pushing at the moment. I've also heard on another podcast that the American election could potentially be messing with the algorithm. I'm not sure how, but it kind of makes sense. Like, I suppose if they're pushing shares, maybe they're pushing people sharing, American politics stuff. I'm not sure, but I don't quote me on that. I don't know whether that's true, but that was just another podcast person's opinion. I'm always listening to other people's podcasts because I'm always wanting to learn more about business. Okay, so let's start with the absolute basics of Instagram. In case somebody's listening to this and they are just starting out, and if you have already got an Instagram account, maybe use this section to almost do a little bit of an audit of your account and see whether you've got everything kind of in place. So if you are starting a brand new account for your business, first of all, the username. The username is the actual like at name that people will use to search for your page. The username has got to be really, really clear to read. I would try and avoid using, lots of like underscores and numbers unless it relates to your business. Just make it really, really easy to understand. Now, obviously, you are limited if somebody else has got the username that you want. There's just no way around it. So, for example, my Creative CEO, I wanted Creative CEO as my username for my Creative CEO Instagram account, but it wasn't available. So I've put Creative CEO Podcast, because I'm not really running that account as like a separate account. I'm just running it to kind of promote the podcast. So that made sense for me. But I would, just think about how you can make your username as easy as possible. If it's just you and your business, like me, I'm basically promoting myself, Georgie Turner Artist. That makes sense because people like it gives the people my name, and it also makes it clear that I'm an artist. So if you've got like a beauty brand, you might want to make sure you've got the word beauty in there or something that relates to what your business is. Don't make it really confusing, and I would try and avoid like shortening your name too much. So you can edit your username. If you use that username and you put it on, you say promotional material, if I printed out when I print out my business cards, it says Instagram at Georgie Turner Artist. If I then went and changed my username to Georgie Turner Designs, then they're going to go on, if they've got my business card, they're going to search for Georgie Turner Artist and go onto Instagram, and it's just going to say username not available, or I can't remember what it says, but it says something like username not available. So you want to make sure that I would try and keep your username for as long as possible, unless there's a really valid reason of changing it. The name in your actual profile, that you can edit that frequently. If you are meta verified like I am, I pay a monthly amount to be meta verified. The only thing you have to do is take a photo of your ID every time you want to change your actual name. So your name should be very clearly like your business name or your name if you are like me and you're selling like yourself. And then you can actually add some keywords into your name to make your profile more searchable. Because Instagram really is like a search engine now. I mean, Instagram, Facebook, or even TikTok, and Pinterest, they are all search engines. They're being used more now than Google, I believe. I don't know the stats on that, but I have heard that. So your name on your Instagram profile can be searchable. I want my name to be really clear about what I do. So I want people to search horse art on Instagram and my account to come up quite high. The more you kind of talk about what you want people to know you for, the better your reach will be for those keywords. So in your name, you can just make sure you put some keywords that relate to your business. Don't just like keyword stuff it, make it sound like it flows. Your bio needs to be like sweet and snappy, and have one call to action. So my bio starts with calming horse and country art. So I'm being very clear about what I do and what I'm trying to aspire people to feel through my art. The second line is inspired by countryside living in Great Britain. So in those two lines, I've got keywords that I want people to search to find my profile through searching. So I've got horse, country, art, countryside, Great Britain, countryside living as well. Then I've got a call to action, sign up to emails for 15% off. And in my links, I've got my email sign up. If somebody comes onto your profile page, imagine it to be like your shop window. You want it to be really clear what you do and why they should bother even scrolling through your profile page when they first go on. And then you've got, so the next thing that people see will normally be your story highlights. Now, these are stories that you can save into different categories. And I would have different sections of highlights that really relate to your business. So, for example, I've got original art, inspiration, prints, nosy pony, customer photos. That's good to have like a customer highlight because it's social proof. You want people to realize that. You want people to know that other people have bought your products. So I would, if you wanted to, I would have in there a really clear highlight that says like what you do. You could have almost one that says start here if you want people to really understand what you do, especially if you're a new business and a new Instagram profile. So there's maybe four types of content that you create. So we've got Reels, which are the video format of creating content. So Reels are really fun to do. They're really good. They're a really good way of growing on Instagram because people are like really consuming Reels a lot. And they're just fun. They are really just fun to do. And you should always pair your Reels with trending audio to really get as many views as possible. I could talk more about Reels, but I'm trying to keep this kind of about the basics of Instagram today. So you've got Reels, you've got posts. Now, I would definitely not recommend ever doing it just one static post. So I would always recommend doing a carousel. So it's essentially a post, but just multiple images. This is because if you just do one post, all people are ever going to see is just that one image. But sometimes your content will be suggested to other people and it will show like the second or third slide on the carousel. So and it also, having a carousel keeps people on the app longer, like Instagram wants, because if you just have one single post, people will just look at it for a split second and then go on. But if you've got a carousel, people might look at the first one and be like, oh, that's interesting, and then swipe through all of the other pictures. So carousels are definitely a great way to go. And I always do a mixture of Reels and carousels. So those are the two things that you can have on your actual profile. Then you've got your stories, which is more of like an intimate insight into your business. Well, it can be intimate if you want it to be, but I feel like stories are more intimate because you can take people behind the scenes more. I used to kind of just show everybody everything that I was doing all day, every day, but I'm trying to now actually have a bit more of a strategy with my stories. And you can do like interactive polls and stickers and, questions. I love asking for people's opinions on stuff to do with my business on stories, and it's a really good way of connecting with people and like chatting to people in DMs. I'm going to give you a real recommendation for somebody who I absolutely love. I discovered Michelle Gifford over a year ago, and she is the Instagram expert. So I've learnt a lot of stuff from her. She talks about attract, nurture, sell content. So attraction content should be it's like the top of the funnel. So if you think when you are trying to get sales, you are obviously going to have to attract quite a lot of people because not everyone is going to buy. So she talks about creating sort of lots of attraction content and then having nurture content. So nurture content is like content that your people that are already following you will appreciate and find useful and want to keep following you because you're being the expert in your field. So attraction content is like the top of the funnel. Then you've got nurture content, which is where people have kind of stuck around and they do like you and they want to consume your content. Then you've got at the bottom of the bottom of the funnel, you've got selling content. I think she recommends only doing one sales thing a week, maybe one or two. So it's very sort of minimal and not being like too salesy. So trying to incorporate your selling content in a binge-worthy reel, and so you're not really like saying, hey, I've got this, I want to sell you this. You're including it as part of your reel. So I think I said this earlier, but if like one of your reels goes viral, you want your profile to have lots of high value content that people want to look at rather than just having like a one hit wonder. So like if your reel goes viral, you want people to find lots of other content that they can consume on your profile, and then it might make them follow you, and then you've got somebody that you can then, is like almost into the nurture kind of part of the funnel, or maybe a little bit in the attract, maybe into the nurture. Oh, there's definitely some like icky things that I've seen people do, and I'm not coming at this from a place of judgment, because I know that I've tried stuff out and stuff has failed. Sometimes I've tried stuff out and it's been really successful, but there is some stuff I see and I'm like, oh, that's not really Instagram 2024. Now I really think about it as like, a business Instagram account, but there's stuff that I've seen people do which I think is really, they just need to improve it slightly. So like, I hate it when people put a hook on a reel that sounds really engaging and then they send people to their caption for more details. Now, I have done this in the past because that was like almost like a trend that was going on. It was like somebody captured your attention, then it said, right, now you've got to read the caption, and it just doesn't work anymore. So I would use your caption to create, like, you can talk about extra stuff in your caption, but make sure that if you are putting text on your reels or you're just talking on your reels, make sure that what you want to share with somebody is actually in the video, because like check caption for more details just it's not good anymore. Posting low quality video, not using the HD format, like it just doesn't look right. I appreciate you might not have, the latest iPhone or whatever phone you've got, but try your best to create like high quality video. So make sure that you're using a tripod to film, or just make sure you've got it on the highest HD setting as possible. Posting the wrong size. So like when people post a reel and it's a landscape and then you've got loads of black edges, like it just doesn't look good anymore. There used to be a thing called IGTV, and I think that was more landscape, but that's not really part of Instagram anymore. So make sure you're posting in the reel, the size that you should be posting reels on. When people use really annoying audio, so I would like do research and like look through Instagram and find audio that you like, but make sure it's not really irritating. I hate it when people put that like cyber robot voice over the top. POV, you love Halloween or something like that. I'm not very good at stuff like that. Yeah, and also there was some statistic. It was something like 70% of people actually listen to Instagram with the sound off. So using text over the top of your reel, it actually helps a lot, because not everybody is listening to the music, which is why the visual, so the actual video, has to be really engaging as well as the text, because you've got to almost imagine that there's no audio on it, because lots of people listen to it without the sound. I'm not sure why, because people have headphones nowadays. But another annoying thing is when the text is hidden by the caption. I've done this before and realised, and then redone my reel, or the text is cut off at the top. So if your text is too high or too far to the side, then it could be cut off by Instagram. If it's too low, then when people want to read your caption, you've got white caption text and then you've got text underneath which is on the reel, and you can't really read the caption. So really thinking about the placement of the text on your reels. And then I've seen some reels when it's really not clear what they do or what they sell, and they're using words they're not relatable to like sort of the average Joe person. So you almost have to, when you're creating content on Instagram, you almost have to be really blatantly obvious what you do. And what does Michelle say? What's her phrase? She says you need to be creating content for people who do not follow you. So don't every piece of content that you put out there, just see it as if somebody has never seen your profile before, and it's really clear what you do. And through either through text or through visuals, just make it really obvious so that the average Joe person who doesn't understand your industry whatsoever can understand immediately what your content is about. So I'm going to talk a little bit about repurposing content, because as you know, everyone listening to this has got a lot going on and we are short on time, and I try to repurpose my content as best as possible so that I'm not sitting on my social medias for a long time, and I'm not, sitting on my phone too much in front of my daughter, which I do, which I'm trying to not do so much. But repurposing content, this is how I do it. So first of all, there is an option to repurpose your Instagram content onto Pinterest. I did this for a little bit of time, and then I realized what a big mistake it was, because if you post a carousel on Instagram and you've got it automatically posting to Pinterest, it doesn't post it on Pinterest as that one piece of content. It posts them as individual pins. So if you have a carousel and say it's got text, say the whole carousel has got just text on it, and the idea behind the Instagram carousel was that they swipe through and they read the text on different pages. When it's posted onto Pinterest automatically, it just goes up as individual pins. So people aren't consuming that content as one piece of content. It's suddenly on Pinterest, it's like 10 pieces of content, and they don't make sense on their own. They only make sense as one unit. So I turned off my automatic posting to Pinterest because I realized that just isn't going to work. So I would avoid having the automatic post onto Pinterest, even though that did save me time. It made my Pinterest really messy. I had far too many pins and it just looked really, really messy. So that's one don't for repurposing. Now, this is how I repurpose my videos and my posts. So your posts, you can save them obviously onto your phone, and then you can upload them as single pins onto Pinterest. That's easy. Facebook, you can easily cross post onto your Facebook page. I do that for all of my carousels. The difference I found with Facebook and Instagram is you can actually add a link on Facebook, so that makes it really easy. If you're trying to sell something and your call to action is sign up to my email list, you don't have to use ManyChat, which I'll talk about in a minute. On Facebook, you can just put a link to your page, so it's actually a lot easier to link people through Facebook. When I'm repurposing videos, I think I talked about this on a previous episode, but what I essentially do is I have an idea about my reel. I go into Instagram and I put all of my video clips, I cut them down to kind of relatively short, but not short enough for an audio, but I just cut them down so I've got them all in order. You can also do this in other apps. You could do this in InShot, which is my favorite editing app outside of Instagram, but I tend to just put all of the video clips that I want to use in Instagram, cut them down, and then before I've added any audio or any text, I'll save that video to my phone. So I've got all of the clips in one smaller video. Probably that video will probably be 1 to 2 minutes long, and it's got no shorter edits. It's just the videos in one go. Then on Instagram, I will find trending audio, and I will cut my clips down so that every time the beat changes, the video clip changes. That's kind of how I always do my videos. I'll then often try and save that particular video, but it won't save the audio with it. That will just save the video with no sound on it at all. But you've kind of then got it as a backup just in case Instagram crashes or you want to post it on Facebook. Then I will finish the reel by adding text on and whatever else I want to add onto it. Now you can cross post from Instagram onto Facebook, and my most recent reels that I've done really, really well have actually performed better on Facebook than they have performed better on Instagram. I will then simply share I'll just press the share button of that Instagram reel and I'll share it to my Facebook page. It means on Facebook, people have to click onto Instagram to view it. But I found that that's the best way of having it actually sat on my page. You could also repost it entirely as a Facebook reel that sits on your Facebook page. But, we're all about trying to save time. So I think as long as it's doing well in some sort of Facebook universe, because it is helping to boost your Instagram engagement, I would just share it to your Facebook page. Then the original video that I made, the one that hasn't got any sort of trimming audio or anything, I will then use that on TikTok, and I will maybe trim it down a bit more because like 1 or 2 minutes is far too long. Like I might trim it down more, but I found that doing a voiceover on TikTok works better. Sometimes using the audio that's more trending on TikTok definitely works. But I found that, just to say, so if you put all of your clips onto Instagram and you save that without having any audio on, it will save with the original clips audio. So if you've got like a clip and it's a pencil scratching on a surface, if you download that from Instagram and you haven't added any audio onto that reel yet, you'll be able to hear like the pencil scratching. Whereas once you've added audio in, it will automatically download onto your phone completely silent. So that's why I do like 2 downloads. And then I also repurpose lots of content that I make for my website. So every time I like make a mock-up for my prints, I will make sure that I have an Instagram version on Canva. So if I've got like different sizes for my website, I will make sure I've got an Instagram version, because that's another way of repurposing content. So I mentioned briefly a company called ManyChat. Now, what you want basically is it's all well and good having like nice content, but what do you want people to actually do with that content? So like I said at the beginning, Instagram are really pushing shares. So if you want people to share your content with somebody else, tell them in the first like line of the caption, or tell them at the end of the reel in the text on the reel. Make it really clear what you want that person to actually do. ManyChat is a way of getting people to comment a specific word, and it will trigger an automatic DM, which you can set up in ManyChat to link them to like your email page or your website or whatever you're asking them to do. So you can create a free account and you can set it up automatically, so people will comment a word or comment an emoji, or sometimes it doesn't even have to be like comment this and you get this. You can just almost set up like a trigger word, so you hope that people will say that word, but it's better just to ask people. Being on social media, this is where I think my downfall is with Facebook, because I haven't grown as much on Facebook because I don't think I spend enough time actually engaging with people on Facebook. Facebook for my business at the moment is just like a secondary Instagram account, and that's purely down to time and having to do everything on my own. So connection is not posting, like engaging is not posting. You're creating your reels, your carousels, doing stories. That's all like putting your content out there. What you actually need to do is engage with people in your target audience. So I'm trying to every single day spend 15 minutes actually engaging with people. So not just engaging with other people in your industry. I'm trying to engage with people who are my target audience, horse riders, people that like the countryside, dog walkers, that sort of thing. So I enjoy looking through content like that. So I go onto my explore page, and my explore page is full of horsey content, which is great because it means that the Instagram knows what I like to look at. So I would spend 15 minutes a day actually engaging with people that you want to come onto your profile, and it really does help. You just have to be consistent with it. Let's just finish off with social media can be great, but try not to let it get you down. And I'm saying this with the awareness that I've let it get me down far too many times. Your business is not defined by how successful you are on social media. Yes, you may get sales through social media, but it's not the only part of your business. It is just one section of marketing that you need to implement because it is important. You should be doing it because, lots of people are on social media. but it is not the be all and end all. Hopefully that was a good podcast to kind of get you either thinking about your social media at the start, or maybe you're going to go back and kind of audit your Instagram about whether you've got keywords, whether you've got, plenty of hooks, where you're placing your text. So hopefully that's been really useful. Please let me know if it's been useful. Please just send me a message on Instagram. You can either find me at Creative CEO Podcast or my art account, Georgie Turner Artist, and just let me know whether you found it useful. The best way to help me is to grow this podcast is to leave a rating, a review, and also to download the episode. So if you just follow the show, it will automatically download the episodes. That's the best way to help me, and it would only take you a couple of minutes, and I would really, really appreciate it. You've got this. You can keep going, keep doing your best, and success is coming your way. Right, speak to you next week. Bye.